actually have several people from Airspace Link that will be sharing. I am very excited because I'm signed up and went through the process, and I have to say, amazing information. I'm super excited. It's all about safety, and they're going to be providing operational situational awareness and just some valuable tools for drone safety. And so I am super excited to have Airspace Link here with us today. We have Lisa, Anna, and Juanluca. Okay, I'm going to switch you over.
All right. Well, thank you. Can everyone hear me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you very much, Desi, Sharon, and Kim. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I actually became a member of Women in Drones last year. And this was when I was in a transitional period between what I was doing at GE Aviation and Airspace Link. And it's just such a great organization. I'm just so excited to be speaking with everyone here today. We became corporate members in January. So an Airspace Link, as Desi said, I'm joined by Anna Helander, who's a co-founder of Airspace Link, and I run, I'm a VP of Business Development and Marketing for Airspace Link. And that means I wear multiple hats. We're a small but growing organization, very excited, based in Detroit, Michigan. I'm actually based in Washington, DC, and we do have a fairly virtual team, and so we cover all time zones. I see my West Region Business Development Director is here. He's in San Diego. So anyway, so I think what I'll do here, let me just share my screen and have Anna, how about you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll come back to the fun facts.
Hi, everyone. I'm just really honored to be on this call today. My name is Anna Helander, and I am the VP of Customer Success for Airspace Link, and co-founded it with Michael and our CTO, Danny Bradshaw. So basically, my role in the company is to take our customers through that customer journey, helping them onboard, setting them up for training, system insights, analysis, letting them know of regulations that are maybe changing, updates, making sure that they are successful with us. And that is my passion, is building the relationships with our customers. It's something I've been doing for over 25 years. And I just love what we're doing. And having Lisa on our team, I can't say enough, has just validated everything that we're doing. And her and I work very closely in bringing larger stakeholders to our customers. And we try to set up economic development opportunities with them. So I'm just really honored to be on the call and happy to take any questions later, but this is really exciting for me. So thank you.
All right, so before we dive into Airspace Link and what we do, and you got a little bit of a preview of that from Anna, let me just share some fun facts about ourselves, because this in the end is about making those deeper connections. And again, very excited to be in front of everybody and hopefully make ongoing connections after this presentation. So just for some fun facts, how did I even get into the UAS space? So I'll just go back to my alma mater, which basically lost, if anyone watches March Madness, we lost to Alabama last night. But anyway, it's okay. They still had a good season. So I ended up going through the business route, but I also took some tech. So I had a tech track under the business program at University of Maryland. I got my MBA from University of Maryland. And I actually have to give a lot of credit to my parents. Both of them were computer scientists. You know, back in the day, we called them computer programmers, but they're coders. So I had a lot of exposure to technology early on in my life, and just have developed a huge passion for disruptive technologies. And it goes back to my early days in mobile. You can see here, I'm dating myself a little bit, but in the early 2000s, we were launching mobile data networks, and really the next wave of mobile applications came about because of those data networks that were being put in place. And you see some of my old phones here. You see some old pictures of phones. That was from my Nextel days. And really and pioneered the mobile GPS navigation space with Nextel. We were the first at the time to launch GPS navigation on phones. So, and then Google Maps came shortly after. From there, I went into the world of big data. So leveraging mobile location now became just a key ingredient of really understanding human behaviors. Spent some time working with transportation planning groups to understand how people move around and what modes of transport they're taking. And so that brought me into the area of city planning and transportation planning, mapping, big data. It all goes hand in hand. And having seen what was going on in the transportation technology space, it was at the height of disruption with shared mobility solutions, really Uber, Lyft, changing the way people move around, and nobody taking the bus anymore. Unfortunately, not many people taking the buses and the trains. And so that gave me some context in terms of what was ahead in the world of transportation. And I had my eyes on autonomous vehicles and electric vehicles. At the time, I had been working with some of the automotive companies who were testing autonomous vehicle lanes on the roads. And then I started to do research about the UAS space, the growing and potentially game-changing and even life-saving potential of the UAS when it comes to medical transport and sustainable new mobility solutions. So that brought me into GE Aviation. And I was with a startup focused on UAS traffic management solutions. And so through that program, we spent a lot of time with NASA and FAA testing beyond visual line of sight and really advanced technologies that will be game changing. And when we go into what Airspace Link does, you'll see we're at the forefront and actually in the center of a lot of what's going to be happening in the future, working on programs like FAA Beyond programs. So that I'll get into in a minute. Extracurricular activities, running, Zumba, working out, playing with my dogs, and practicing my drone. I have 2 drones I bought now. I still do it for recreational. I still need to take my commercial Part 107. I just want to get my son through his SATs and ACTs and get him out. You know, that's my first focus. And then I'll be working on myself pretty soon. So that's me. And I'll turn it over to Anna.
Thanks, Lisa. So I don't come from the drone world, but have been in it now for the last 3 years with Airspace Link and really learning so much and continuing to learn all the time. And I would just say that my background is very heavily focused in sales and account management. And I've been doing that, like I said before, for over 25 years. I was a customer success manager in the waste industry prior to starting Airspace Link. And then I was a previous business owner, Michigan minority female business owner in the steel industry. So been all over, kind of dipped my hands in everything. And like I said before, I would just say that I have a true passion for customer success and customer service and making sure that our customers are happy and getting everything the most out of what we're trying to do. And in working with state and local government, in my previous life, I also feel that that has helped me at Airspace Link, just because you understand sort of the timelines and budget cycles and all the stuff that it takes to start working within the community, and seeing that all these communities are really excited about what we're doing and to keep drones safe. And not that it's a bad thing, that it's a great thing, and that there are these amazing use cases for drones for good, COVID test kits. We're talking Meals on Wheels and prescription deliveries. There's just this endless opportunity for drones to do good. And I'm so excited to be in this new space with my team. And I would just say a little bit about me personally. I am a stepmother to an amazing kid. His name is Blake. He's 14, just started high school, and with COVID, I feel really bad that he's been stuck with us working from home, but he's just an amazing addition to my life. And of course, we have a COVID baby, and his name is Murph, and he's a handful. So I'm a stepmom and a mommy to a puppy, and I'm an avid marathon runner. I'm considering doing an ultra this year, but I don't know, I'm kind of scared. CrossFitter once or twice a week, and I guess that's just a little bit about me and what I do. So I will turn it back over to you, Lisa.
And I really enjoy working with Anna. It's just great to be tag teaming together to break new ground in this industry. So let's get into the heart of what Airspace Link does. So our vision really is that UAS to advance and achieve the promised potential of really becoming new mobility for freight transport, for last mile package delivery, and eventually people transport. We are working with local and state governments to lay that foundation of what could be the next big infrastructure that comes into the US. And there's a lot of pendulum swinging right now in the regulatory environment, but we do see that with a good solid ROI, which is what we're seeing when it comes to drone deliveries, that this can be game changing, and that instead of always building a new road or laying a new track for a metro, that we could be using our airways now to start to offset congestion, ultimately reduce CO2 emissions, and then create a greener environment. So we are equating this to what Vanderbilt did with the railroad, and what Edison did with the electrical grid, and Eisenhower did with the American highway system. So we are working at all levels. We work with the FAA, we work with NASA, we work with federal DOT, we work with the state governments, and then of course the cities are now starting to get involved, cities like LA that have real traffic congestion issues that they're going to have to deal with. So getting some of the delivery trucks off the road, putting them into the sky can create more productivity for everybody. And Anna talked about medical transport. So we are involved in some projects that will speed up medical supply delivery and just create more efficiencies overall, which could be life-saving. So this is the challenge we thought through many years ago. The founding team, Anna and Michael and Danny, were thinking of this from a community perspective. How do communities now participate in the safe growth of UAS operations? At the FAA level, we spend a lot of time at the industry symposiums speaking with the FAA. And we've done a lot over the past 2 years to safely integrate drones into the national airspace. And so that was one of our first missions, was to become a LANC provider. So we are a low altitude authorization and notification capability provider. We have a solution that I'll go through called AirHub for pilots. So now pilots, you can be commercial Part 107 or a recreational pilot, or you can do further coordination, even fly in zero height flight areas through our system. But that basically opened up airspace near airports now. But now we have this explosive growth that is happening because the regulations are opening up at the FAA level, federal levels. And so the communities really need to start to participate. So how do we go about helping them participate? Well, we have a platform that sits on top of Esri. Esri is a GIS, Geospatial Information Service platform. They're used by 85% of local and state governments. And what we're doing now is hooking right into those platforms to transform GIS data that exists today in those platforms, because they're already managing their roads, managing their rights of way, managing land use zoning, where is critical infrastructure, where are the water lines. All of that information exists in these databases. What we're doing now is taking that information and transforming that information into meaningful insights about risk on the ground. So now we're giving pilots context about what they're flying near and over so they can make better decisions. That's in a Part 107 environment. Now we start to fast forward to beyond visual line of sight. This is critical. It's critical to understand how drones are going to go from point A to B. And that's why we say we're laying the foundation for these future highways in the sky through our system. And I have at the end of the presentation, we do have a video and you'll see a demo. We might not get to the demo here in the main room, but we might be able to do that in the breakout session. So agencies are planning and managing their UAS infrastructure with our AirHub for Government platform on the left here. So this is where the data gets transformed into a risk profile of the community. They can also use this platform to set advisories. So any local events that are happening where the FAA might not know that there's a parade happening or a farmer's market, now the community can actually convey that information to pilots, and it goes into our LANC system. So our AirHub for pilots is on the right. That's where pilots can obtain their appropriate authorizations to fly in controlled airspace, but also see these local advisories and alerts that are produced directly from our government agency clients. And then we're giving data back. So in aggregate, think of the left-hand side as a transportation planning tool. So now a government agency who has a transportation planning responsibility and is thinking of how is this new mobility going to work in my community when Amazon and Uber and Wing are all coming to me wanting to set up their pickup drop-off points. Okay, wow, now I have a tool where I can literally plot those on a map and look at the safe areas for those pickup and drop off points to be located. And then we're giving this data back. We're giving trends of where flights are happening, when they're happening, where they're happening. Here you can see the gray hexagons on the left-hand side on the map. So that's how the two connect. It's a data exchange between the two sides, the local and state government sharing their information, the FAA providing the airspace rules and regulations, and then the drone community now getting the benefit of all that information so they can make better decisions. And we have the route that you see there on the right. We have an automated route determination solution where you can set your waypoints and the route will be determined based on safety. Okay, let me go to the next slide here. Okay, so now we're getting into some of the more advanced risk modeling that we're doing. So this becomes really important for building a safety case that goes into the FAA to get these advanced authorizations. So you can see up here in the upper left corner, this is North Dakota. So we actually did some modeling for them. We are part of a new infrastructure deployment that is taking place there. We partner with another airspace management company who has expertise in surveillance systems. We're deploying ground-based radar systems. We're deploying new communications infrastructure, and we're the digital software that helps these advanced authorizations go through in a more streamlined process. So right now we're at the point of getting the FAA to bless our safety case that we've made. We've contributed the ground risk analysis to look at where all the safe routes should be in this beyond visual line of sight operational system. And for that, North Dakota has appropriated $28 million to build out a statewide network. We are sitting as the geospatial cloud and the data provider for the route determinations in the middle of that system. So we are the heart of the intelligence in that system. Moving on, we're also working on an auto parts delivery solution where auto parts need to be transferred quickly from a dealer warehouse to auto body and collision centers to basically get the cars fixed as quickly as possible. And it's for insurance saving reasons. It's a value-added service for the dealer. Basically, they save the auto, they save the revenue from the purchase of the auto part through them versus the auto body shop going to an aftermarket alternative. So getting the small package, or often less than 5 pounds, transferred as quickly as possible is the goal here. And in the end, it will be a lot less than sending a driver in a truck with empty truck with only one package, basically. So we're working on that safe routing right now. And then in Syracuse, you can see the population density graphic here. This is a heat map of where populations are in downtown Syracuse. We use this to get an FAA approval to support a COVID test kit delivery operation, which was going from the rooftop of a hospital at SUNY Upstate Medical Center to their biotech lab. And it was a round trip of 6 minutes. It was basically rooftop to rooftop, hover and drop, and then get back over to the hospital. So if COVID test kits can be processed more quickly, overall, you're reducing that spread because you're getting notice to the patient as soon as possible of what their results are. It's also a contactless delivery. So those are some of the more advanced applications, how we're applying our risk modeling, and we're leveraging JERA, NASA, and FAA frameworks for that. So let me give you a quick demo here so you can see it in real life. We're working on some modeling related to dynamic risk assessment too. So based on a set of constraints here, you can see on the right, the type of the operation. Is it Part 107 or is it BV loss? What is the size of the vehicle? What is the payload? What kind of vehicle is it? We're able to come up with basically a risk assessment of where that operation should take place. And it's going through the process here where we create the area of operation. And we have some drone delivery companies using our system right now for site selection purposes. So given a set of, let's say, 100 locations, where are the best routes to serve those locations, and where should the drone staging area even be located? And then we're getting towards the end. I want to make sure we have some time here for our breakout session. So we deliver these solutions through APIs. So everything that you saw can be delivered through an API. That's how we're working with the commercial operators. And here's a good story that we had recently. We just announced our integration with Esri SiteScan that came out last week. Esri SiteScan is used for data collection and imagery processing, and our LANC solution has been integrated there through a deep linking capability. So the user actually goes on to the Airspace Link site to acquire their LANC authorization. And then Anna, how about you just talk quickly about Detroit Aerotropolis, and then I'll go into the video.
Absolutely. So when we first met with the city of Taylor, Michigan, we told them what we were trying to do, gave them a demo to their mayor and their IT department and their economic development department, and they were really intrigued, but they thought we could go bigger. And so they introduced us to Chris Girdwood. He is the executive director at the Detroit Region Aerotropolis, which is an economic development community of 4 cities and 2 airports, which is obviously the Detroit International Airport and then Willow Run that tends to do some cargo deliveries and flights. So we met with Chris and his team and presented to them and the rest of the other communities, and they were just completely forward-thinking, smart city initiatives, want the space to be open for drones. And so we've partnered up with him now, and they're just a huge champion of what we're trying to do and bringing an economic development opportunity within the city of Detroit, which is expanding then outwards throughout the United States when we talk about this use case and what we're trying to do in Detroit. So if you want to tee up the video, we can talk a little bit more about what we're doing with Detroit Region Aerotropolis.
And Kim, are we okay to show the video, or I just want to be mindful of the time? Are we?
Yep.
Good?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right.
Right, Desi?
Yes, we're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
When you look at roads and the way roads are built, whether it's pavement, asphalt, or concrete, what you're doing is you're cutting through green space. And a lot of people look at traffic and congestion and the way suburban infrastructure has kind of eliminated a lot of green space in and around cities. And so what we're trying to think through from an economic development and urban planning perspective is, if you're using an automobile to move a 5-pound part, why not move that 5-pound part via drone, highway in the sky? So take that car off the road. Eliminate the need to widen roads by opening up a new form of mobility in the air between 40 and 400 feet. And so from an ecological and an environmental perspective, I think the wind is at our back to create urban air mobility corridors to mitigate the need to continue to widen roads on the ground. So economic development now is very much focused on equity and inclusion. And when you think about transforming the way in which people live, work, and play, mobility is at the center of that. And so from an economic development standpoint, if you look at, the urban planning perspective, the business attraction, the targeted industry focus to grow high quality jobs in certain industries, mobility is that thread between all of those things in economic development. And so when you think about our partnership with Airspace Link, it's about economic development at the very beginning of a new mobility revolution. And so what better time now to be involved with urban air mobility, advanced air mobility, when you're trying to build equity, inclusion, and high quality pathway job creation to your community. I think it's going to underpin a lot of the growth in multiple industries, so better to be involved from the start.
All right. Well, and I think we're nearing the end here. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time today.
Well,
I
thank
did-
you. That was fantastic.
I did share my LinkedIn or my email address with everybody. I don't know, Anna, if you did too in the chat.
I
So
did.
feel free to reach out and contact us. And if you are a pilot, try our AirHub for pilots.
Okay, that's a perfect segue for me, because I have to say that I went on there and within 5 minutes, I had an account and had my Lance authorization. And I know Lance authorizations are fast, but to have the whole thing set up, it was an easy process. And I am all good to go for my next flight.
Thank you.
It went really well. It was so easy to use.
So Lori, with that and Anna, like, first of all, to all the ladies that are on here, Anna and Lisa have definitely demonstrated the power of asking, right, ladies? Like a lot of women, there's actually a book out that I read.
That kind of wraps it up.